Hi, this is Ryan Kelly from Standard Bike Repair. Today we're going to use the Hozan spoke threading machine and we're going to cut a spoke. The first thing we want to do is find a spoke and figure out what size we need. Let's see how long this is. $120, 214.5 millimeters. We're going to use a different spoke, because this one has been used and I can't tell whether it's single butted or double butted. So here's what we have. We have a gauge, 15 gauge spoke. Okay? It's not a single butted or a double butted. For the practices of what we're doing here is we got a 300 millimeter long spoke, and we can tell the gauge by going here, and the gauge is measuring the same from the ends and the middle. If we run our fingers along here, we can tell whether it's a single butted or a double butted spoke. That's going to play a major factor right here. Because if it's single butted, we need to get this counterclockwise a little bit tighter. To make our lives easier, we're only going to knock it down 2 millimeters. As you can see, there's already threads. If there's already threads, getting this roller dies to catch on to the existing will make a whole lot of difference. I like to use paint markers. Paint markers pretty much go on to anything, something like this. So 300 millimeters long, we're going to go to 295. We're going to cut it, and then we're going to take a look at our cut and probably take it to our bench grinder right over here. Since I'm doing this all alone, I'm not going to change the camera focus. But the point is, wear your safety goggles and cut. Still have threads. Now, if you have the spoke Hozan threading machine, you're going to want to have a bunch of long threads. You don't need a whole bunch of short threads, because you can't make a longer thread with a shorter thread. But you can always make a shorter thread with a longer thread. This edge is a little bit jagged. We don't want a jagged edge, because these little dies here will not catch. I'll be right back. I'm going to put my safety goggles on. I'm going to run this along a bench grinder to get more rounded cylindrical edge. Now it's hard to see with what we got here, but there's more or less a point. Now point's in the middle. So here we go, something like this all the way around. These are 3 roller dies then can catch, and it rubs. It doesn't actually cut out new threads. We're going to place it in here, and we're going to want to push these 3 roller threads all the way to the back. Now, if possible, we're going to try to catch it before we tighten it down here. And I can feel a little bit of resistance, so we're going to assume it's caught. We're going to tighten this up. Now, depending on whether you got a double-bedded, single gauge, number 14, number 15, this is thicker. This is on the thicker edge of a single, gauge 15. And that hexagonal nut is what is catching us here. We can loosen this or tighten it for a smaller spoke gauge. Now we're tightened, got a nice strong spoke. We're actually only taking a couple of millimeters off. There's already threads that will allow us to keep moving. These dies catch better on existing threads and then can make a 10 to 12 millimeter thread going. When you're trying to create a new thread altogether, let's say you have to go from 300 to 290, well, you're going to have to cut off all the existing threads. It's a little bit harder to start. Not impossible, just a little bit harder. Alright? So make sure all these roller dies are pushed back, put the spoke in, and we're off. And as you can see, the first indication is whether this is moving forward or not. Do not try to put too much pressure. If you do, it really won't harm anything, but it won't work. But the general rule of not forcing anything always applies. And once you get to the edge here, don't continue to go. Now we're going to go back counterclockwise. So we made the edge, we made the threads, and we're coming back out. We're going to see our handiwork. And I think I see some threads. We're going to loosen this bad boy here and slowly pull it out. The only time it's really hard to pull out these spokes is when you don't actually put any threads in it. There we go. We did it. We did it. I really wish that this... Okay, there you can kind of see threads simply because there's no shininess to it. If you have any questions, let me know. Bikes@standardbikerepair.com. Have a great day.